Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to use an 8-weight thread and some wash-away stabilizer to create this really cool infinity scarf. This is incredibly easy to do, and it makes a great gift for friends and family or a fun craft you can make for yourself. All you need is a few simple materials and a sewing machine with a zigzag stitch. This is the 8-weight thread I'll be using. It's called Dazzle and is a rayon thread with one strand of metallic for that extra bit of sparkle. I recommend using a rayon thread because it has a soft and silky finish that will feel nicer against the skin than a polyester does. For my top thread, I'll be using this 30-weight thread called Mirage. It's also rayon and comes in a lot of fun variegated colors that will change the look of my scarf as I sew. In the bobbin, I recommend using this strong, fine thread called Deco Bob. It's an 80-weight polyester that will help hold my threads together while also being fine enough that it won't add extra bulk in the stitching. Before I can begin my project, I need to prepare my water-soluble stabilizer. The water-soluble stabilizer I like to use looks and feels more like fabric than plastic. As I plan on my scarf being 58 inches long and 8 inches wide, I will need to cut that length of stabilizer with a little extra overhang. However, to make my stabilizer thick enough to couch on, I want 2 layers. Don't worry if your stabilizer isn't big enough to accommodate the length. You can always tack on an extra piece, and it doesn't need to look pretty because we'll be washing this away later. You can use pins to join pieces of stabilizer together, but I prefer to use this water-soluble thread called Rinse and Gone because my stabilizer will lay flatter and I won't have to worry about pulling the pins out as I do my couching. It will also wash away with the stabilizer when I'm finished. When your stabilizer is cut, loop the ends back on themselves and pin together. Then stitch them together with the Rinse and Gone to create the infinity loop. Now I need to choose my machine options. I want to select the zigzag stitch on my machine and slightly decrease the stitch length and increase the width. How much will depend on how many threads I'm couching. I'll be using 2 threads couched together, which means I'll need to set my stitch width wide enough so the swing of the needle catches the threads. Do a test on a scrap piece of fabric to make sure your stitch width is wide enough. I'm going to use a regular foot for this because I am just working a zigzag over my couch threads. You can watch our previous tutorial on couching without a couching foot to see how to do this. Now you're ready to begin couching. Loop your stabilizer around the arm of your sewing machine and run your 8-weight thread under your foot. Position your fabric on the edge and sew all the way down until you loop around and return a few inches away from where you started. Sew slowly until you catch the beginning of your threads. Then edge your stitching away from the line of the first thread. I want to keep about the width of my foot away from the previous line of stitching. Now I'm going to follow my last row of stitching and continue all the way around. I'm going to continue in rows around my circle, keeping the edge of my foot always along my last row of stitching. I will repeat this step over and over until I reach a width of about 8 inches of total stitching. To finish my final line of stitching, I will edge towards my last row until the threads overlap. I will slowly sew over top of the last row for about 1 inch of overlapped threads. Do a little back tacking and trim the threads as close as you can. You've now completed half of your scarf. I'm now going to couch using 2 strands again and stitching perpendicular to my last row to create a grid. Guiding the couching thread with only your hand, start anywhere along the far edge of your stitching. Work horizontally across the previous stitches. Couch all the way down to the edge and stitch onto the thread underneath. If you miss catching the thread, you'll end up with a hole. Stop with the needle down on the left side. Lift your presser foot, pivot the fabric, and drop the presser foot. Continue stitching along the edge of the thread with an overlap for about 1/2 inch. Then stop again with the swing of the needle down on the left side. Lift your foot and pivot again. Then continue right back across your scarf. When you reach the other side, you're going to do the same thing again, but this time with the directions reversed. You're going to repeat these steps all the way down your scarf. When you've gone all the way around, pivot once more to create a final 1/2 inch of overlapped stitching, back tack, and cut off your thread. You're almost finished. There's just one more step. Fill a sink with lukewarm water and gently massage the stabilizer out of all of the holes in your scarf. The stabilizer will melt away, leaving just the thread. And that's all there is to it. Thanks for joining us. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button below and join us for more great tips and tutorials. We'll see you all next time.